What's up, friends? Welcome to Web3 Academy, a place for entrepreneurs, creators, and marketers to explore and learn how to use Web3 to transform business models and create thriving communities. Enjoy this next episode. GM, welcome, friends. Reidhead here. Another episode of Web3 Academy podcast. I'm super stoked. We are talking about the current state of Web3 and crypto in June of 2022. A crazy time to be in this space, that's for sure, but an exciting time. And I just want to talk a little bit today about, where we're at, give some perspective, and just look at where we're going so that we can, as doers in the space, whether we are builders or we are investors or we are just keeping an eye on what's happening, so that we can kind of gauge where we're going next and what we should be doing, what we should be thinking, etc. Okay. I'll tell you what you should be doing. You should be working in Web3. We need you. Web3 needs you. Okay. I don't care what you do. If you are a product manager, if you are a community manager, a social media manager, a video editor, a designer, a developer, a lawyer, whatever, I'll tell you right now, there is a job for you in Web3. And I'll tell you right now, it's probably going to pay better than what you get in Web2. It's probably going to be remote. It's probably going to come with some nice incentives of tokens. It's probably just going to be so much better. You're going to work with cooler people, all these things. And so that's why Web3 Academy is helping you find a sick ass job in Web3. Okay. We're doing it through our Web3 Academy DOer Collective. And basically all it is you click on a link down in the show notes below. If you are someone who's looking for a job or just wants to kind of speak to people and just see what's out there, just go click on that link. You're going to create a profile inside of our collective. Okay. So it's a group of talent in the Web3 Academy community. And basically what we're going to do is send a bunch of awesome, sick ass companies with sick ass opportunities and jobs to you. And they're just going to reach out to you. You don't even have to go hand out resumes like the old world. This is a new world here where some guy you listen to on a podcast is going to go and find the jobs for you. Okay. That's what this is all about. It's super cool. It's free for you as well. You don't need recruiters and things like that. Literally just go take a couple minutes, fill out this application, and we will approve you into our collective, and you will start getting reached out by cool companies, right? Why wouldn't you do that? Seems so easy, but seriously, Web3 needs you. We need talent in this damn space. We need people who are capable. So I hope to see you in there. If you have any questions, hit me up on Twitter. Kyle Reidhead is my Twitter. Follow me there and hit me up if you have any questions, or hop in the Discord and you can ask me, you can ask my co-host Jay, and anyone else, whatever question you have, whether it's about getting a job in Web3 or it's just about Web3 in general. We want to chat. We want to talk with you. So we'll see you in the Discord, on Twitter, or just join our job board. By the way, if you're a company and you're listening, or you work for a company and you are looking for talent, I'm telling you right now, the others that are listening to this podcast that you're listening to, they are talented motherfuckers, and you can hire them. Just go to our collective, and you can also check out our collective. Head there. Okay, let's get back on track here. Let's talk about the current state of Web3 and crypto, particularly in June of 2022. So this is an article that I wrote. We actually did a state of Web3, or a state of crypto, I think it was called, episode back in May. This was just kind of a review of A16Z and their reports. What was funny is I was actually writing this before that came out. So this is getting moved back a little bit to June, but still up to date as per usual. Okay, guys. So with the recent struggles in the crypto markets, it really is a great time to reflect on where we are, where we came from, and where we are going next, right? This can help us reevaluate what we are doing and get back on track for the future. So let's dive into some of the numbers across the ecosystem. It's actually mind-blowing, these numbers. So let's start here. If we look at the total market cap of crypto and Web3 industry, it is valued at approximately $1.26 trillion at the time of this writing and the time of this reading. What do you want to call this? Time of filming this podcast. Okay. And look, this can change very quick, as we've seen. We can cut by 50% in literally a couple days. So maybe it's less than this, but somewhere around this, okay? And although that seems like a very large number to some, it's actually a tiny fraction compared to other existing asset classes. So I did a little looking into to try to see what else there was. And US equities alone is $53 trillion. So basically 53 times more than this entire industry. And that's just US. Remember, crypto Web3 is global, right? So 53 trillion. Gold is a 10 plus trillion market cap. Okay. And it's just gold, just one commodity, right? US housing real estate, $44 trillion. This is just the US. And it's just housing. That doesn't even count like corporate buildings and things. So crypto is tiny. I mean, it's great we are above $1 trillion, but ultimately it is tiny. And in fact, today there are 3 public companies. This is Apple, Microsoft, and Alphabet, which are individually valued higher than the entire crypto space. So in the grand scheme of things, crypto and Web3 are still extremely small and nascent. However, in just the last 2 years, this space looks completely different, completely. And now I know many people following and listening to Web3 Academy are somewhat new and trying to learn the space. And so maybe you weren't here in in 2020, or maybe that's when you first entered in. But let me just give you a little bit of perspective. Let's take a look at the state of Web3 in the beginning of 2020. So about 2.5 years ago today. So back then, the term DeFi didn't really exist. In the DeFi ecosystem, which we know and love today, like Uniswap and MakerDAO, and well, actually MakerDAO was around, but Aave, all these things, they were building back then and before then, but they weren't common things that people knew and used, and there wasn't a lot of value being moved on them back then. And now there's so many other things, like Sushi Swap and 1inch, and the list goes on and on and on. Okay. So none of that really existed, and we didn't really use the word DeFi either until the summer of 2020, which is when we had kind of DeFi summer, and these things really took off, when that utility was finally there and people could use it and things went crazy. And that was really one of the things that started this bull market that we just had. Back then, NFTs weren't really a thing. So there was a few test projects like CryptoKitties and CryptoPunks, which, by the way, CryptoPunks, believe it or not, were free to mint. I think it was in like 2019 or something. So it was a while back, but they were trading for literally dollars until, 2020 at the end, but more 2021 is when things really started taking off. And CryptoPunks was kind of one of the main ones that did that. Back then, 2020, the only people who knew what a DAO was were those that were actually in one. And at that time, there were not many. There were DAOs like MakerDAO and things like that. But it was for people who were like deep into this space and had been in it for a while. It's nothing like what DAOs are today, where there's a billion DAOs about a billion different things. Alternative layer ones, they were basically non-existent, other than there were some ghost chains from 2017, like EOS and Neo and, whatever else. But really, at the beginning of 2020, you hadn't really heard of Solana or Avalanche or Terra or Near, not even Binance Smart Chain at that point, right? So what a whole new world we're in now, because those are some very popular chains, of course. At that point as well, Bitcoin was the only somewhat accepted crypto in the traditional world back then, right? Yet at that point, it still wasn't accepted in the traditional finance space as a valuable asset to hold in any portfolio. It was sometime like Q2, I think, of 2020, where what is the investor's name? Big time investor came out and said that he has Bitcoin in his portfolio. Can't remember his name, so maybe I'll remember it in a second. But anyway, he came out and that really like kind of put Bitcoin on the map, but no one was buying ETH or buying Solana or whatever. And now you look and there's just billions of dollars investment, VC investment. There's public companies, buying ETH and putting on their balance sheets, et cetera. So what a different world it was just 2.5 years ago. So to paint this picture even further for you, the market cap of the total crypto market on January 1st, 2020, and I have the picture up here, was $189 billion, the total market cap. Just to put that in perspective, Ethereum today has a larger market cap than that on its own. And it's currently sitting at one of its lowest in the last year, which is around like 220. I think when I wrote this, it was 240 billion. Now it's sitting around 220 billion. So that is literally bigger than the entire crypto market just 2.5 years ago. And that's just Ethereum, which isn't even the biggest crypto. So the growth in this industry in just the last 2 years is nothing short of extraordinary, right? We reached a peak total crypto market cap back in November of 2021 at around $2.84 trillion. I mean, we lost a lot of that, unfortunately, but that's much bigger, right? It's more than double, 2.84 trillion. That's how far we got. 2.84 trillion in November of 2021. And in January of 2020, it was at 189 billion. That's like I don't know what that is exactly, but like a 16 or 17x in less than 2 years. That's crazy. So for the first time, the excitement around crypto and Web3 actually has some weight behind it, right? In past years, it was always a promise and a hope, right? But today we've created real world value and are reaching adoption and growth numbers that would have been a dream just 2 years ago. When the markets crashed in 2018, it was all hope. It was like, well, we think this thing's going to work out, but we don't actually have anything. You can't do anything in crypto. So imagine that bear market, right? Where everything crashes by like 90% and there are literally zero users because you can't do anything but buy and hold, right? Which I don't consider a user. I consider a user when you're actually in Web3 and custodying your assets and doing things with it. And so it's a whole different world this time around, right? Yes, we are down 60%, but we still have millions of users using this stuff and that are using it for real world things that are helping their lives. And that to me is incredible. So even though things seem bad right now, perspective really is key. We are light years ahead of where we were just 2 years ago. And so let's look at some key milestones for crypto adoption in the 2020s. So far, 2 years into the 2020s, what have we seen? Well, blockchains like Ethereum are settling multiple trillions of dollars in transactions in just a year, right? Per year. That's pretty amazing. Trillions of dollars that Ethereum is settling. It's pretty incredible. Single applications like Uniswap are reaching cumulative trading volumes of over $1 trillion. Over $1 trillion has been moved on a decentralized exchange in cumulative, I guess, sorry. But that is incredible. No one even knew what a DEX was, a decentralized exchange was like a couple of years ago. No one had any clue that it was going to work. I think Vitalik just wrote some paper saying that these should be a thing. And this guy, Hayden Adams, just started making one and it launched, I don't know, it was 2019, 2020, something around there. And it's already done over $1 trillion. It's incredible. Okay. The number of users interacting with NFTs have skyrocketed into the millions. Now, I don't know exactly what it is, but some kind of suggest it's around like 4 million-ish today in total, up from basically 0 2 years ago. It's not 0 actually, but like when you look at the chart, it might as well be 0. It's very, very small. Web3 games like Axie Infinity are going mainstream in developing countries and onboarding millions of people, okay? We estimate millions of people into the Web3 ecosystem. The estimation right now is there's about 7+ million Web3 gamers in total. So, I mean, it's not a huge number compared to the billions of gamers there are. But I mean, like Axie Infinity just took off in the middle of 2021. And that's the first like Web3 game to really take off. So we're not even a year into Web3 gaming going, I wouldn't call it mainstream, but somewhat mainstream. And we already have 7+ million people playing. That to me is pretty incredible. And we don't even have the good games launched yet. Wait till those come around. The total developers across the industry has more than doubled since 2020. So that's pretty cool. And I expect that to continue to go up, hopefully. VC investment, venture capital, has hit an all-time high of more than $34 billion in 2021 alone. 34 billion. So, I mean, that tells you what's happening during this bear market we're in is we got money, which again, that's why you want to come work in Web3 because we got money. And I mean, especially right now, there's a lot of companies that are laying off their employees, not in Web3, right? We are hiring, we are bringing in, onboarding people into the space because we're well funded. So it's huge. What else has happened in the 2020s? Fortune 500 countries are holding Bitcoin and ETH on their balance sheets, right? Countries like MicroStrategy, Tesla, Square, KPMG. I'm pretty sure KPMG is holding an NFT on their balance sheet. right? And there's more. That's just a list of a few. Countries are buying the dip and making Bitcoin legal tender. That one, who would have believed that is happening already? El Salvador is one, obviously. They've gone all in on this. I think they're even mining Bitcoin at this point. Central African Republic is one that has also announced. That was in 2022. And it appears there are more to come. It looks like potentially Panama. I think it was Paraguay. Mexico has been talking about it. Other African countries. So it's coming, it seems, that there are more that are using this, and that is pretty mind-blowing. Back in 2020, I don't think anyone was going to think that was happening. And finally, many of the largest corporations in the world are building on top of Ethereum, right? Experimenting with NFTs to create new experiences, interactions with their community, and integrating crypto payments. The list is crazy. Visa, Instagram, Twitter, NBA, Budweiser, Adidas, Nike. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. If you listen to our weekly roll-up, every single week, we're announcing these massive companies that are building on top of blockchains. And that just wasn't even thought of in 2020. And it's only 2022, the middle of it now. And, you know, you have there isn't a company that's not talking about it or already doing it. It's pretty incredible to see this adoption, to see that all of the smartest people in the world, all of the biggest companies in the world are like, wow, this is the future. We got to start building there. And it's happening. So there's some unbelievable milestones here. And here I got a chart up of the adoption and tell the entire story. So this chart, and I'll walk through the chart in a second, but it shows the total user growth across crypto growing faster than the internet did itself at its same point of adoption. So it estimates around 300 million plus users. Let me zoom in here a little bit. 300 million plus users in total. Now, this is not Web3 specific. This is those who also just hold crypto on exchanges. And so it's not people that are like custodying their own assets and stuff, but they're like, it's people that are at least investing in it and seeing it, right? And so that's really cool. And so it's actually growing much, much, much faster than the internet itself was at around the same rate. And so, you know, it actually predicts and looks like by mid 2024, so just 2 years from now, we'll have over 1 billion crypto users. And then by 2030, 5.1 billion crypto users. So the adoption rate here is just, it's insane. And it's safe to say that crypto and Web3 has already begun its run to go mainstream thus far into the 2020s. However, there is a problem. There is a problem. Web3 is not ready for mainstream. I'm just going to say it. It's not ready. It's terrible. It's a terrible UX. Even me, someone who's like a power user, who's using this for years and like is in this space every day, I still shit my pants sometimes when I'm using my wallet, my Ledger wallet. And so, you know, what I think is happening here is that the tech is not growing fast enough to support its current rate of adoption, which tells you something about its product market fit, right? It tells you that this stuff is inevitable. It's going to happen. People want it. Companies want it. Nation states want it, right? There are millions of people all over the world that don't even just want this. They actually need this technology. It's just not quite yet ready. It'll get there. I don't know how long that's going to take. It's going to take some time, but let's talk about some of those problems, because you know, listening to this podcast, maybe you are someone that can solve these. Maybe you are a UX designer, or you are a developer, or you are a product manager, or you are an entrepreneur, right? Here's some of the problems that we are having in this space. And again, if you're an entrepreneur, start your company, great. Which, by the way, join our Discord. We will help you start that company. Whether that's through consulting or just giving some advice or putting you through one of our masterminds and cohorts or training or whatever you need. And if you want to work for a company to help them, obviously join our job board, join our job collective in the show notes below. But look at this. Here's the current state and problems that I'm seeing anyway of crypto Web3. One, the UX and UI of this ecosystem is absolutely terrible. And look, this isn't like, I'm not making fun of the developers in the space. The reason is because they're trying to build utility here. They're trying to build things that actually work, right? And it's not easy to completely innovate and build something new. So it's okay. These developers are not focused on creating the best little user experience and having a button here and some text here. They're saying, okay, I want to create something where you're not going to get, you know, billions of dollars of assets rugged and stolen from underneath them, right? They're worried about security and functionality. They're not necessarily worried about UX yet. And that's great. We need them to make this stuff work. We need it to be secure. So keep doing what you're doing, devs. I'm not shitting on you guys at all. What I'm saying though, is we need more devs. We need more power, manpower. So get in here and help us out. So outside of the UX UI, Web3 wallets. I mean, this is also part of UX, but this is the main tool required to enter the ecosystem. And to be honest, they're just not yet ready for mainstream use in terms of its UX. They're just not. Seed phrases are awful. These browser extension wallets, like MetaMask is not a great user experience whatsoever. Someone sends you a token, it doesn't even show up in your wallet. You got to like manually add that in your wallet. That's crazy. Now Coinbase wallet is doing some nice things to help with that. Argent is a great one as well, which has gotten rid of seed phrases, uses social recovery. So like it's coming, the tech is being built. But this is, I mean, that is the like main dashboard of Web3. And so those need to be just an spectacular UX for mainstream to really come in here. dApps are not ready for mobile, right? Most internet users are using phones. They are not using desktop. Now, like those who are in the space, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a developer, whatever, if you work online or like remote, like you have desktops and you use that or a laptop, sorry. But like the mainstream people, like my mom doesn't have a desktop. She doesn't have a computer. She uses her iPad and her phone. One of my best buddies, he's same age as me. He's 32 years old. He's a firefighter. He doesn't have a laptop. I didn't even know this until I saw him a couple of weeks ago. I was like, you don't have a laptop? So to me, I'm like, I do a lot of things on laptop and that's normal for me, but most people, it's all mobile. I mean, and I know this, I mean, I'm a growth marketer and we see 90% of people that are interacting with our ads and with our products are on mobile. So it's only 10% are on desktop. But there are people there that don't have this stuff and they're just waiting. They need it to be on mobile because what else are they going to do? So this thing doesn't really go mainstream until we are, have that functionality on mobile. And so we need mobile developers, right? Now, while we have the solutions figured out to scale blockchains to the masses, because this is the other big problem is scalability, the tech is not fully built out and ready for the masses, right? Currently, I mean, just happened the other day, but Solana continues to go down literally every single month. We can't have that. Terra imploded to zero. We definitely can't have things like that. Avalanche, which is supposed to be the next gen Ethereum that is scalable. Every time it gets busy, the fees skyrocket, right? Which is what is always going to happen with these kind of monolithic blockchains. So, and then we have Ethereum L1, which the fees are just way too high. Now we know that that's not where people are going to be on. They're not going to be using the Ethereum L1. They're going to be using layer 2s, which that adoption is coming fast. And it works. We're seeing layer 2s work, but the problem again is we don't have the tech to bridge people over layer 2s. The UX is a little bit clunky on layer 2s. So again, we just don't have that good experience yet, but that's coming. It's just going to take some time. Interoperability between blockchains and applications is not yet ready either. And it's not seamless and it's definitely not secure. Interoperability between different L1s, it's not secure at all. People keep getting hacked, or sorry, not people, but the bridges keep getting hacked. So like, that's not good. We can't have that. That's difficult times for this industry when that happens. And same with, moving from layer 2 to layer 2, that needs to be seamless. It needs to be all hidden underneath the app layer, which again, that's coming, but it takes time. Scammers are everywhere, right? This one sucks. Hopefully this bear market here is going to get rid of a lot of scammers. But this one's a tough one when it's anything to do with money, right? Scammers are going to be there. This is just the way it works, but we will build in ways to get rid of them. Just like email, we started to have tons of emails spamming. And so we made spam folders and things to get rid of that. And now the email experience is much better, right? This happened with Instagram. When people first started coming on Instagram, all of a sudden you could DM people and everyone would see it. So they built sort of like the spam or the, like, I don't know what you call it, but like the requested side of things for your inbox so that you don't get all of these messages in your inbox. They go to this other one that you have to like manually go to. Same with Twitter does that as well. So like this will happen, to get rid of all this spam and scamming that's happening in the space. We will build in tools and things, but again, that takes time. And so again, we need more people to help us with that. There's still also just a lot of unknown risk to the underlying protocols that most users are just not aware of. And I don't know how we fix this yet. Like part of that is education. That's one of the things I'm trying to do here with Web3 Academy and Jay is trying to do as well. And our whole community is we're trying to make sure that you guys understand what you're building on or what you're holding and what you're using So that's a part of it, but it's also just, again, creating a better experience with these blockchains, so that you don't really need to think about it or know. And so again, that's coming, but that's going to take time. And then I guess the last thing when we think about current state is regulation, right? This is uncertain. It's coming. Regulation is definitely coming. And if you are into politics or anything in this world, there's actually a lot of opportunities in Web3 to get involved and to help make sure that regulation goes smoothly. There's things like Lobby 3 DAO with Andrew Yang, and that's like to help go and lobby for crypto. There's a bunch of others that are up. So if that's you, and I actually didn't think about this one, but also join our collective, because I will reach out to those groups and get them involved as well. I would love to support, some lobbying in that. So if you are in Web3 Academy community or listening to this and you want to get involved on the political side, definitely join in, hit me up in Discord. I'll see what I can do to help you get your dream job there. So there's still a lot of under the hood that we need to build and fix before we're ready for the applications that onboard the masses, right? The millions, the billions of people. It's easy enough to understand this fact when we realize that the biggest milestone of crypto and Web3 in 2022 will probably be the Ethereum merge, which is funny because most people don't even realize what it is or recognize when it happens. Most people are gonna have no idea. And that's kind of the biggest event in crypto. So you can tell you, it just shows you like this industry is still so far, I don't want to say behind, because like we are moving at an extremely fast pace. We just are not yet ready for the mainstream. We're still building the underlying technology. And I think that's what needs to be understood. So most people, even those in the crypto space, still don't even understand what the implications of the Ethereum merge are. Yet for those in the know, this is not just one of the biggest events and technological feats of the year, but it's likely one of the biggest in crypto's entire history, other than maybe the birth of Bitcoin. So it's kind of funny to me when you go on Twitter and you see that people are thinking about going to the moon and onboarding billions of users. Yet the reality is we're still just trying to figure out the underlying protocols and getting them to work properly, right? Like that's really where this industry is at, is still just playing around with this tech and tinkering with things. It is not going to the moon. It is not bringing on billions of users. Not yet. Not yet. For example, Web3 Academy launched a simple POAP NFT to token gate our Discord community. And honestly, it was a disaster. Disaster in terms of UX, both on our end and for the users. Ultimately, like the tech did what it needed it to do, but it wasn't a scalable piece of tech, that's for sure. So we actually had to remove it, and we have a different way that we are doing it now. So it's just the UX is just not there. So by the way, if you want to join our Discord community, you can. You just go and click on the link below in the show notes, and there will be an application for you to fill out. There are NFTs involved that you will get. It is different than what we once announced before, but join in and you'll see. And the Discord community is awesome, and you will get yourself an NFT, which is super cool. So the natural next question is this: where does Web3 go from here? And the answer is we keep building, we keep experimenting, we keep learning, right? We're building an entire new digital ecosystem with new applications, new forms of money and equity, and new forms of structure and organization. And this shit is going to take time. So here's what's on my radar for Web3's road to mainstream. These are the things that we need to accomplish to get there. The 5 key milestones necessary for Web3 to become mainstream ready. First is the ETH merge. I talk about this all the time, but Ethereum has proven to be really the only viable layer 1 smart contract platform with sufficient security, decentralization, and uptime of 100%. We can't have these things go down. And it's the only one that can support a new digital ecosystem. The underlying technology that everything in Web3 sits on and utilizes for its security is extremely important. And getting this foundation right is the most important thing in Web3 right now. And Ethereum is on track to do this. It's on track to do all of those things. That's not the only one. I'm not an ETH maxi. I'm just saying it's the only one that if you want to build on and you want to put your assets on, it's the only one that you can currently trust. Now, the others may get there. Ethereum is much older than the others. Just saying it is the only one right now. So the merge is a huge step towards upgrading the Ethereum blockchain for long-term sustainability. We have a podcast. What is it called? I think it's the path to profitability and sustainability for blockchains. Highly recommend you check that out. We really, if you want to hear kind of the technical components, but that talks a lot about the merge and just in general what blockchains need to do. But simply put, here's what's coming from the merge that are the two big upgrades. One is improved monetary policy. So post-merge, Ethereum becomes the first deflationary asset and the first profitable blockchain. This tokenomic structure is necessary to ensure a secure and sustainable blockchain long into the future. This is really important and not well understood. The second one is environmental sustainability, right? With the move from proof of work to proof of stake, Ethereum relieves itself from using huge mining rigs that need to be replaced every few years, and it reduces its energy use by 99.9%. Look, if the future is green and sustainable, our settlement layer must be too, okay? Next up, layer 2 scaling. Okay, Ethereum L1 is the secure settlement layer for Web3. However, applications and users will not use the Ethereum L1. It is slow and expensive, and it is that way by design. Okay, so the merge is not going to lower gas fees. Here's what I want you to understand. The gas fees on Ethereum will never be low. On Ethereum L1, they will never, ever be low. So stop hoping that. That's not the purpose. We need those fees to be high to cover costs. We need revenue. And so we want to keep Ethereum L1 as decentralized and secure as possible, which means we need gas fees to be high. But that's okay for you as a user or a builder, because you're going to build on a layer 2. And the layer 2 is going to be the one that pays for those fees on the layer 1, but it's going to combine them all up. So you don't have to worry about it. So you get the security you want and the cheapness you need and the speed you need from these layer 2s. So to scale to billions of users, we will use these fast and cheap layer 2s, which utilize the security of Ethereum, the L1. And layer 2s will flip the scalability trilemma on its head. Okay, so without going into details, you just need to understand that layer 2s become cheaper with more users and more transactions on those layer 2s, which is literally the opposite of every other layer 1 blockchain, including Ethereum itself. Okay, so the L1 plus L2, layer 1 plus layer 2 Ethereum combo gives us the security we need and the low costs and speeds that we need. So L2s are going to be the place where you will be on, right? Where the developers will be on. L2s are where applications will be built and where the users will live. Layer 2s are already here, by the way. Optimism, Arbitrum, Immutable X, and many others are growing strongly. The underlying tech literally is ready. We just need to wait for some adoption and some better UX and UI, but the technology is there. The next thing, and this one we're already seeing, but I think we're about to see it happen much faster, probably, I don't know, end of 2022, maybe more into 2023. We'll see. Stuff takes time. But what I'm talking about here is big tech entering Web3. I also did a podcast on this a week or two ago. I highly recommend you check that out if you want to understand what it means when big tech enters the space. But the giants of the world are coming. They're all entering Web3 right now. And these are the companies with the most developers, the best UX and UI designers, the most capital, and of course, billions of existing users. As the tech giants begin plugging into the Web3 ecosystem, the users will be onboarded at mass. Many of them in such a way that they don't even know they are using blockchains, NFTs, or what we think of crypto and Web3 today, right? And that's what we want. To get rid of, we shouldn't actually have to talk about blockchains and layer 1s and layer 2s and bridges and all this. Like soon enough, you won't even know any of that, right? We don't talk about like HTTP and whatever it is, IP and SMTP, whatever the heck is, all the protocols that the internet is built on. I don't even know them, right? And we don't need to know them, but I'm an entrepreneur and I build businesses on the internet. I'm a user of the internet, but I don't even know what the acronyms are. Just like users probably won't know what Ethereum is or what NFTs are or ERC20s and all this stuff. We don't need to. So this is coming fast than most people realize, as we're already seeing companies like Twitter, Meta, Google, Reddit, Shopify, Spotify, Reidhead, they're all already plugging into Ethereum and other blockchains, and they are going to bring a ton of capital, a ton of developers, a ton of users. So again, if you want to work in Web3, get in before big tech gets in, because you get to be their boss if you're already experienced in Web3, or you get to be the one hired at leading roles in Google, et cetera, on the Web3 side of things, which they are going to need. GameFi. There is no easier product market fit to see than games incorporating Web3 tools like NFTs and tokens. There are over 3 billion gamers across the world right now playing for free. What do you think they will do when they can play the same quality of game, but instead earn real world assets, real money? GameFi is so obvious. It will literally onboard billions of users, and it will do it very quickly once the games and tech are ready. My estimations, we are 1 to 3 years out until these are ready for mainstream gameplay. We will see. I don't know for sure. but this is coming. And there has been in the last couple of years, a lot of money, a lot of developers, a lot of just resources put towards building games in Web3. And this is like native games to Web3. And this is also like big games like in the Web2 world that are moving into Web3. So this is going to come. And when this comes, it is going to be fast. It's going to be insane. So GameFi is going to be huge. We also did a podcast on this a few weeks back. If you just look up GameFi. And the final key milestone here for Web3 to go mainstream is regulation. You know, love it or hate it, regulation of crypto and Web3 is coming. With the executive order put out by Biden in early 2022 and the unfortunate collapse of Terra, of $50 billion ecosystem recently, you can expect regulation is going to come, right? And while it may have a negative impact at first, it will work itself out just like the internet did. You know, regulation will allow for monetary and human capital flow into space at an unbelievable rate. So bring it on, regulators. Look, the internet back in the 90s almost got regulated to death as well, right? They wanted to ban the internet and that didn't happen, right? They started with some ridiculous rules and then people lobbied and people fought. And ultimately what won? The thing that was going to change the world, the thing that was innovative, the thing that was going to provide solutions to billions of people around the world like the internet already has. Of course, this is going to win out. It's just going to take some time. So my final thoughts, these are the top 5 things I'm watching right now to understand how and when Web3 will reach the masses. When I look at the current state of Web3, I couldn't be more bullish and excited, even though the markets suggest otherwise. The price of the markets do not reflect the fundamentals actually occurring inside the space. Markets follow narratives and trends that may have nothing to do with the reality of the ecosystem itself. And that is okay. When markets become separated from the fundamental reality, it's simply an opportunity for those in the space to take advantage of, whether that means investing, building, whatever you're doing. Right now is a wonderful opportunity in Web3. I mean, and yeah, I mean this in terms of investment, but also in terms of starting a business. I mean this in finding a forever job, getting in early to the next phase of the biggest companies in the world, and the list goes on and on. The key here is to stay involved and stay ahead of the trend, right? There's too many people that, I mean, in 2018, 2019, that just left. And it's happening now. There are definitely lots of people I know, a lot of friends I have that are not fully in the space. They've already left because their prices went down. One of the biggest mistakes you're going to make is leaving this industry right now. How can you fade the crypto and Web3 industry right now? There's no more innovation in the world than what's happening in Web3, and people are going to leave it. Look, all you have to do is keep your money in or keep your mind in, put your time in here, and it's going to work out. If you start networking in Web3 right now, just wait to see what happens in the next boom. It's insane to see what happens for those who built during 2018 and 2019. They made their lives changed in 2020, 2021. Okay. Even though markets have crashed by 50%, doesn't matter. They made so much. It changed their life so much that this doesn't mean a thing to them. Okay. The only people that this really impacts is the ones who came in new, you know, during when prices were super high, and they're not going to stick around. They're going to sell and they're going to lose, and they're not going to benefit from this at all. Because now the next time prices go up is when they will come back. And they're already behind, one in investing. They're behind in understanding the space. They're behind in networking. They're behind in their experiences and skill set. This is why I'm pushing getting a job in Web3 so much, because I know what it's going to do for you in terms of just staying in the space and networking in the space and understanding the space. It's going to be a game changer. And so guys, it's exciting times ahead for Web3. And I thank you for listening to this podcast episode. I hope this helps. I hope it helps you stick around. I hope it helps you see the future of Web3. And again, if you see that, or if you have any questions, or if you have any feedback from me, or you disagree with something that I have to say, get inside the Web3 Academy Discord and come debate. Come tell me I'm wrong. You know, come tell me I'm right. I don't know. Tell me what you like, what you don't like. Let's have a discussion. Inside this Discord, guys, is just a community of people, entrepreneurs, creators, marketers, bunch of people that are just passionate about Web3 and passionate about seeing where this space goes. We all work in Web3, or we're all trying to find jobs in Web3, or we're building businesses in Web3. It is a kick-ass community. So thank you to the Web3 Academy doers. Thank you to all you guys that are in Discord, chatting in there every single day. And if you're listening, like, shit, I'm not in there. I'm not chatting with these people. Get in here. All you got to do is go to the show notes below. There's a link. You'll fill out a quick little application and you're in. That's it. So join up. Let's see you be a part of this community. And thank you for listening. And actually, you know what? One more thing. If you guys have any cool content that you've been writing about Web3, let me know. Shoot me a DM in Discord, shoot me a DM on Twitter, whatever. And let me know, because we want to share your content. We want to make sure that we are spreading some of the best information about Web3 to our community. Okay. We will put your article right up here like I just did. I just read my own article. I'm going to do this for you. So meaning your name, your article, your information is going to get put out into the thousands of listeners to the Web3 Academy podcast and the thousands of subscribers to our newsletter. So it's going to be great exposure for you. And the reason we do it for free is we just want to make sure that you're getting exposure if you're writing some cool stuff. We want to make sure everyone's reading and learning the best stuff in Web3. So that's where we're at. And I'm going to leave you guys with that today. Thank you so much. And I hope you all have a wonderful week. Take care. Thank you for listening to Web3 Academy. We hope this helps you along your Web3 journey. And if it does, please share this episode and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. By the way, if you've yet to join the Discord community, you are missing out. This is where all the magic happens. This is where we learn, where we ask questions, where we network. You want to be in there. The link to join is in the description below. And finally, a quick disclaimer. Nothing in this podcast was financial advice. Crypto and Web3 can be risky. You can literally lose it all. In fact, if you invest on account of what we say, you probably will lose it all. So don't do that. In all honesty, the point of this podcast is to remove the noise of markets and price and focus on utility and implementation anyway. So you should not take any of this as financial advice. Thank you, friends, and see you in the next one.